use a flat tire. So 150 sheets of sound deadening was put down. Covered off the main hollow areas of the van. So done as much as I could. Didn't want to buy another 50 sheets. I just didn't think it was worth it really. So I covered off most areas anyway for the sound deadening. I just had to cut out a bit more of the bulkhead, and I just had to do a bit of painting. So that there is that part there is going to be, that covers obviously the exhaust going under the manifold of the engine and towards the engine. So I just sound deadened that as well. I figured that's where it's going to probably make a bit of noise, bit of rattling. So it's pretty much, that's it now. It's all ready to go into the carpenter. It's been rubberized. It was first primed. Put the rubberized paint on it, so there's actually no leaks anywhere, which is great. So it's pretty sealed. There's a lot of work went done to it. There's new shocks fitted. That's all new steel and all the arches. And it's all been paint protected as well. So I used that Hammerite, which is kind of like a 10-year paint protection. So I sanded down all the rust, took all the rust out of it. It's dirty now at the moment, just needs a wipe down, but yeah, it's taken right down the metal, and then I put the paint protection on it. So in terms of it's as prepared now as it ever will be. It's all sealed off at the back, so there's no water coming through there. As I say, that's all been, this part here has all been completely, any rust that was on it has been cut away. So the chassis has just been restored completely. That's the extension obviously at the rear, and I want to get that finished, or once it gets fitted out. The next thing is the floorboards. So yeah, that's all going to be rubberized as well. So I'm going to rubberize all the wood, the first wood that goes down over the top of the chassis. So that's all going to be rubberized back and front. So it'll be plywood that's going down, and yeah, it's going good. Eventually, once I get the van the built inside, I'm going to put the under seal protection all through the chassis and get all that done. All the engine work's been done, so that was the first thing I done, was just kind of get the engine up to scratch. It hasn't been driven in a while, but just concentrating now on the conversion. The chassis is really solid now, which is great. Suspension's been solved. The engine's work's all been done. It's all been any rust been cut away. It had a bit of work done around the arches, the front arches, so all the rust was cut out of that. So you'll just see a flat tire, but this is it was rotten on here, so that was all cut away and replaced. Obviously the body work has to be done yet. It is an old van, but you won't know it once it gets repaired and resprayed. But that's really it. There was a couple of bits here that needed welding as well, so again just cut the rust out, didn't want to leave anything to chance. The only part now has to be done is here. That's pretty rotten here, but I've just covered it so no more water's getting in. The only reason I couldn't do that is the guy couldn't get someone to take the window out at this point, so that's going to be done. As I say, no rush for that because I just want to get the interior fitted out now. But yeah, a lot of work. All timing belts, cam belts, full service, oil, water, brake lines, everything was done on it, so it's yeah, a lot of work, believe it or not. I know it looks pretty bare now, but I could have probably, I just didn't want to build on top of problems, so I just decided to sort it all, start from the ground up, get the chassis right, get the engine right, and then build out the inside. So that's next. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed the video. It's going to be really interesting. The last part as well is I've got the chroma pole, so I'm going to clean down the roof, which is a fiberglass roof, and then I'm going to chroma pole so it's white reflective, kind of hardens like a rubberized paint, but it pretty much does, it'll just coat that really well. It's just faded over time, but that's all been restored as well, so that's on the to-do list. So yeah, anybody that's interested in doing projects like this, they are big projects. I didn't think budget wise it would probably cost as much, but at the same time with coronavirus I don't really care. I just wanted something to do, something to build out, and just something to kind of keep me going sane, I suppose. So yeah, really enjoyed the process. I'm just really interested in doing this stuff, and I'm going to really make the most of the van as well. So yeah, cheers folks.